Hey everybody. Alright, so this is part 2 of the Polaris FST fuel pump rebuild. And what you're going to need to do is when you're going to go rebuild the pump as far as the lines, you have to get a couple unique hoses. Because essentially there's a high pressure side and there's a low pressure side. And so what you have to do is, as far as the high pressure side, and that's the line coming off of the fuel pump, that's going to the flange, which goes out to the to the tank. The line that you're gonna need is this one right here. I picked it up from Napa. It's a submersible fuel line hose, 5/16 by 1 foot, and this one is very important. This is probably the most important hose that you're gonna get, because with the fuels how they are today, regular hoses, the rubber hoses, vinyl, the PVC hoses, they're very susceptible to breaking down inside the tank because of the ethanol in the fuels and everything else. So you can't use just regular fuel injection hose or anything like that. You need to get a hose that is rated to be submersed in the fuel system, especially on the high pressure side. Because what will happen is, if you don't get this hose, if you just use regular fuel injection hose, what's going to happen is the hose is going to soften up, and because it's on the high pressure side of the system, the hose will get loose, and the fuel pump will actually blow the line off as far as the fuel pressure. So you need to get this this hose. This hose was kind of expensive for what it is. Again, it's only 1 foot, but from Napa it was $21. And when you buy the hose, that's the rating you want to look for: SAE 30R10. Essentially, that is the rating that indicates it's okay for being submersed in the tank. And where is the part number on this? The part number on it is 4219-5185. So that's the first hose that you're going to need. Make sure you grab that. Alright, the second one you're going to need is, and I picked these up off of Amazon. These are actually Tygon hoses. If you get them from directly from Tygon, they're amber, but there's a company out there called Motion Pro that also makes these Tygon rated hoses, and you can get them in black, gray, or some other color. But for whatever reason, you can get them in black or any color that you want. So this is a 3 foot length. Again, 5/16 ID, and they're $20 a piece. So essentially you have $40 in hoses. And the part number on this one is 12-0056. All right. So if you're gonna rebuild the fuel pump and the lines, if you're in it this far, you might as well spend the money and get the right hoses, because otherwise you're just gonna be doing it again. If you just try to use regular hoses or just regular fuel injection hoses, because otherwise this stuff is going to break down within 6 months, and so it's not going to do you any good. So make sure you get these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all this stuff together, and I'll show you the finished product. All right, so the everything is back together, and here you go. All right. So a couple tips when you're putting everything back together. In case you're wondering what this is a air vent. So what it's designed to do is, if the pickups pick up any air in the system, this is designed to vent the air out of the lines prior to it going to the tank, the pump. So when you put this back together, make sure this little duct bill is facing up. All right, and what you want to do is kind of hang the pump assembly and everything else, almost like it was the way it was going to be inside the tank. And the reason why is because you want to get this thing laying flat as best as you can and make sure there's no pickups. So when you put everything together, leave everything loose and don't cinch everything down until you get everything assembled. Because what you want to do is you want to make sure that the float isn't hanging up on anything. It's nice and it's free. And looking at mine, I have to move the hose over a little bit because it looks like the bar is rubbing on the hose, so I had to make an adjustment on that. But the biggest thing is when you look at the pickups, you want to make sure the pickups are flat on the tank. They're not twisted either way, and all the lines are nice and straight and flat and everything else. And you want to make sure the second pickup is flat as well. So again, you don't want the pickups twisted in the tank. You want to make sure everything's flat. Another thing you're going to want to do is when you're putting your hose clamps on, get stainless steel if you can. And again, try to remember how this thing's going to look like when it's sitting in the tank. So when you put all your clamps in, make sure you don't have any jagged edges that could scratch the tank or anything like that. That could possibly cause a leak. So when you do all your clamps, make sure all the fasteners are all up top, and basically the leading edge of the clamp is up top, so it's not dragging on the bottom of the tank. And you want to make sure that's the same thing for everything all the way down. So, and so again, so this is the high pressure hose I was talking about before, and again, that's again, that's the most important hose that's in here, because if you try to use just a regular hose, what's going to happen is the hose will get soft, and because this is the high pressure side of the fuel system, either you're going to get a leak down here, or you're going to get a leak up here at the transition point, and you'll run into performance issues when the tank has less than like when there's 2 or 3 gallons, that when the tank is down to 2 or 3 gallons, you may get into issues where it's the fuel pump is actually blowing fuel past this and it's not maintaining pressure in the rail. So again, even though you're only using probably like 5 inches of this hose, make the investment. It's only $20 to do it, so just go ahead and do it. And other than that, that should be it. So again, before you put it in there, just take a look at it, make sure everything's nice and flat and there's no strange issues with it. You can use, I used some wire zip, some plastic zip ties, just to kind of mimic what Polaris had done as far as tying the hoses together to make everything nice and neat. And again, they're just snug, they're not tight, so you don't want to cause a pinch point or an abrasion area when you put it in there. So I hope this helps everybody out, and if anybody has any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the comments box, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.